In the Barack in a Hard Place segment tonight, let's bring in our presidential watching duo, Fox News analysts Monica Crowley and Alan Colmes, comment on this from Mr. Obama today.
Given the unsettled situation, I've spoken to the Attorney General and we've agreed that we will not be transferring additional detainees back to Yemen at this time. But make no mistake, we will close Guantanamo Prison, which has damaged our national security interests and become a tremendous recruiting tool for al-Qaeda.
Okay, now, Sarah Palin, if you check out her Facebook page, just crushes Obama for that, Colmes.
Crushes him?
Yeah, it just says it's just dumb and we shouldn't close it. And I don't really care about debating Guantanamo. I think there are good arguments on both sides. It is a propaganda tool against the USA, there's no doubt. But, you know, let's face it, we're repatriating people back who are killing us. And that's pretty stupid.
Well, we have a Constitution.
Yeah,
we have a justice system.
I know. And if you put them in Illinois, I don't care if they put them in Illinois. Now, do you think that President Obama responded to this underwear bomber as strong as he should have?
Yes, I do.
And I'm shocked.
You're shocked. By the way, I didn't need the full body scan coming in here. That was not necessary.
Okay, and you would be the one that would really take that off the table.
Yeah.
Okay, once that scan is made public, that scan would never be used again anyway.
Right.
Okay,
in the whole system. Look, look, he was rightfully angry. He was upset. He had the same tone today. He knows changes have to be made. He was candid about it.
Why weren't changes made before this?
Well, I think it's systemic. I don't think it has to do with...
What does systemic mean?
Systemic has to do with... You've got different agencies that don't communicate well. That's always been the case.
Why didn't he order them to communicate well? Why didn't he do something before this?
You're presuming that, you know, you can always be Kreskin and always do everything ahead of time. I mean, that happened. It happens in every administration.
Shouldn't he be held accountable for it?
Yes, and I think that's where the buck does stop. And he was very clear today that he got his team together and he said this is unacceptable. And I thought he struck the right tone.
Should he fire his team?
If someone deserves to be fired. I mean, I don't know specifically whether there's someone who deserves firing.
We had Newt Gingrich on last night, and I asked him if America's safe, and he said point blank no. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't know that that's true. Look,
you think we're safe?
We're never probably 100% safe. In a free country where you're not doing full body scans.
But you're not worried?
You're not looking at Yes, of course I'm worried.
Okay,
but
so we're not safe.
I don't think... This idea that are we safe? We're never 100% safe in a country where there's ingress and egress and people coming in from all over the world. You're never going to stop every opportunity for someone to hurt us.
All right, now
look, after 9/11, President Bush and Vice President Cheney had a 100% perfect track record in keeping the homeland safe from an Islamic terrorist attack. So far this year, we've had numerous attacks.
What about the shoe bomber?
Well, that was coming into the United States. It was not a domestic terror attack. I mean, it was meant to be, but it was stopped by the folks on the plane. But so far this year, we've had a dramatic uptick in the number of attacks that have actually been successful in being carried out. We had the shooting deaths of the U.S. military in Little Rock, Arkansas, left 1 dead. We had the Fort Hood shootings. We've got the arrest of 5 Muslim Americans coming out of Washington, D.C. in Pakistan on terrorism charges. And the list goes on. And now, of course, we have this Detroit bombing. My concern is that I disagree with Alan completely. It took him 72 hours before he made an initial weak statement. Then it took him another day to beef up the statement while he was still on vacation in Hawaii. Then it took him another 96 hours to say, well, it looks like it could have been al-Qaeda. I backtracked from the isolated extremist nonsense. He is talking in euphemisms, Bill. And
why do you think he's doing that? Why do you think he's doing that?
Because here's what I think. I think President Obama is a true believer. And what I mean by that is that he's a disciple of Saul Alinsky. Pardon me, let me finish.
Saul Alinsky,
who was a radical, who believed in the radical remaking of America by shattering its very foundations. I believe that President Obama has taken that to heart to the extent where over the last year we have seen him apologize for the United States relentlessly.
But he can't want Americans to be killed.
Well, then how else do you explain his incredibly flaccid reactions to these kinds of attacks against the United States?
Bush had flaccid reactions to a couple of things, including Katrina. All right, I'm going to give you the
ridiculous. Bush reaction to Katrina, Bush reaction to a whole number of things. This is a vicious smear. And this idea of bringing in Alinsky is modern-day McCarthyism. Alinsky, where he followed Alinsky was, Alinsky said you can do things outside the political system, outside elective office. What he said about Alinsky was you do things from the grassroots and don't depend on big government. I would think you'd agree with that. This smear that you keep bringing up Alinsky as if he's the boogeyman, and that represents the radicalism of Obama is absurd.
Now,
let me finish, please.
In Obama's case, ideology trumps everything.
All right, you don't want to
wait. She said, hold it. I'll give you the last word, Colmes. But look, the argument is, and not just by Monica, that President Obama is so left-wing that he can't bring himself, all right, to admit that harsh, and that's the key word, measures have to be taken against these
Well, we
people.
shouldn't be doing harsh interrogation. It's illegal, it's immoral, it's unethical.
All right, there you go. Now you're making an argument.
You got Peter Baker, in an upcoming article in the New York Times, who basically talks about how many of the same security people around Bush were retained by Obama. He's got some of the same advisors, including the same defense secretary. This idea that he has radicalized government or doesn't want the best for this country is a vicious smear, just simply because you disagree with this president on policy or tone, that he should not be smeared like that.
All right, real quick.
Last night you asked Speaker Gingrich, how do you account for this? It seems so irrational. Closing Gitmo, treating these people as criminal defendants instead of terrorists. How do you explain it? The explanation is, the answer is that ideology for this president trumps politics, it trumps re-election, it trumps all.
There you go. Rockin' a hard place, everybody.